I was told to start off the video by hitting 1,000,000. There you go, I cheated, so what? Hello, I have Mualani now. That's pretty cool, I guess. If you've seen my IFA 101, you know that I was going for IFA constellations on this banner. And I got a few IFAs. I got 1, 2, and then I got my 3rd right after getting an early pity Mona. So here I am, after wishing for my IFAs, I've got 3 of them and a guarantee, which is a pretty good outcome when it comes to wishing for 4 stars. But then a little brainworm infested me. A little brainworm called Capturing Radiance. So for those who don't know, it's actually kind of good to go over this right before a new region starts. The Capturing Radiance mechanic is based on consecutive 50-50 losses. The more 50-50 losses you have built up, the larger the chance that the next time you would lose a 50-50, Capturing Radiance jumps in and makes it not a loss. There's some nuance when it comes to winning and losing 50-50s, but for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it short. If you lose 3 50-50s in a row, then your next 50-50 isn't a 50-50. It's guaranteed to be Capturing Radiance. And when I lost this 50-50 to Mona, I got enough losses to guarantee a Capturing Radiance. And that gives me 2 back-to-back guarantees. Both the base one from losing the 50-50 and the Capturing Radiance one. So now I'm sitting here looking at this banner. This is a unit I could convince myself that I'm interested in, along with 2 4-stars that I very much am interested in. So what's one more 10 pull? And then yeah, I kind of got what I was asking for. 8 pity Mualani. But I did get another IFA and another Fab Sword. So like honestly, my luck on this banner was like astronomic. I am not winning anything for the rest of the year. 4 IFAs, 2 Fab Swords, Mualani, 30 pulls. Anyways, let's talk about why Mualani was important to my account. I have skipped a lot of key meta units this year. I wasn't trying to make a point or anything, I just didn't like the units. But these characters inhabit Genshin's higher tiers, and we just got a harder new endgame mode that is being balanced in these units' favor. And you can see I have not cleared level 5 difficulty of it. When it comes to meta and power level, my account is a fair step behind a lot of people. Even a lot of newer players. Not having these units has had a significant effect on the strength of my account. And maybe you're thinking, oh, but wait, there's Kanich. He's a Natlan DPS. And like, okay, he is a Natlan DPS. He's doing better than almost all of the units released Fontaine and previous. But there is a gap between him and most of the rest of Natlan. Chaska is also somewhat on the lower damage side, but she is very easy to play and she flies around. And she's a rainbow DPS that makes it easy to meet elemental checks. Kanich has a lot of gameplay issues. Anyways, even if Kanich's numbers weren't a little lower than the rest of Natlan, I have really felt him as my only Natlan character due to the other endgame content that I have been consistently clearing. Unlike Stygian, I was able to work with Abyss the entire time. Kanich got walled out of a lot of Abysses this year by this freak of nature. I already don't like fighting this guy, but what made me hate him so much more is the fact there were like 3 or 4 Abysses where he was the only reason I wasn't able to full clear with the Kanich team on one side. He would just stand there, forcing me to use my lower DPS teams that weren't as synergistic with the leyline bonuses. Whatever, I hate the Yumkasaur Mountain King. I don't really mean this to disparage Kanich because he still is a strong unit, but I've had a lot of situations where I just can't play him. And Mualani changes that. Mualani gives me an option into this side that benefits from the Knight's Soul Align damage bonus. She actually plays very, very well into this side. I actually did an Abyss account swap thing, so Luna set it up again. I live streamed it, but the VOD got deleted because there was music playing. But I'm making a second channel for situations like this, and by the time that this video is up, it should be posted there. Anyways, for that event, I submitted a Mualani team, and pretty much everybody had an easy time of things, which is saying something because Mualani is kind of hard to play and a lot of people don't enjoy it. She can be very, very weird, but this Abyss treated her very nicely. Big surprise considering she's on banner and she's probably being shilled for, but whatever. It's about more than just this one Abyss that she was shilled for because I got 36 stars in this Abyss before I got Mualani. It's about any potential Abysses going into the future, and especially Stygian. I've actually already gotten fearless clears on both the turtle and the cactus using these respective teams. I'm just working out something for Papilla, which is funny that I was talking so much about how Kanich was leaving a bit to be desired on my account, and now he cannot clear Papilla. But yeah, Mualani is going to get me my first fearless clear. Not that that's a massive deal, because the rewards Yeah, they're really nothing special. It's more just about the knowing you can. The point of this section is that Mualani is going to give me a gateway into the higher level content because she is the only one of the stronger DPSs that I like using. Except for Berserk, actually. Again, from that collab. Played Zajeff's Berserk team, and now I'm like, damn! I want to get Skirk so I can play Berserk. That's not a good idea. Whatever, you get the point. I didn't have any meta DPSs, now I have a meta DPS. I am allowed to continue playing the contemporary content, and I can comment on its difficulty with some sort of knowledge. And on that note of pretty much just getting my first DPS that can keep up with the contemporary content, I knew that I didn't have any of the higher tier DPS units, but still, Mualani was such whiplash when I started playing her, because I hit a vape on her, and okay, great, I just see like a casual 520k, and that's just like a thing she can do. Like that's no big deal for Mualani. She's hitting 2 of those, her rotation plus her burst, which does 700k. Anyways, I really feel the big gap in character strength. Getting Mualani, I feel like I have been playing a completely different game for the past year. I'm looking back at all these videos, people are talking about, oh, well, power creep is so bad, and I was kind of thinking like, yeah, there is power creep, but like, is it so bad? And I still think that is a discussion to be had, because power creep isn't just a measure of comparing the strength of new units and old units. It's a measure of content difficulty. Like, I've been able to make it through all the abysses this year without having any of the new meta DPSs, but it has not always been comfortable. It has sometimes been a bit of a struggle. I don't know if that's gonna happen so much with Mualani. She is decimating these chambers in like 40 seconds on my better runs. I'm repeating myself a lot, but getting Mualani was just, it was a wake-up moment for me. I'm like, wow, this is the game that you guys are playing this entire time. I was doing something completely different. Anyways, you get the point. Mualani is probably the new strongest unit on my account. She opens up a lot of the newer content to me, makes it a lot easier. Maybe I should talk about why I actually wanted her. Like, what I actually find interesting about the kit. I'm gonna go over this real quick because I imagine most of you know how Mualani works. She is designed around the forward vape reaction, that being Hydro onto Pyro. Hydro onto Pyro removes all the Pyro on the enemy and multiplies the value of the attack that triggered the reaction by 2, more if you've built a little bit of EM. Because she was designed for this reaction, Mualani doesn't apply a lot of Hydro, but she applies it with very big hits. Depending on if you use your burst or if you use your normals for setup, she only applies Hydro 3 to 5 times within your rotation. 1 normal attack for any potential setup, 3 hits from the skill, 1 hit from the burst. Normal attacks don't do anything regularly, so let's look at the skill. Jumps on Sharky. Her normal attacks are converted into these bites that have almost a 2-second cooldown, so you can't spam them very quickly. You also have these 3 little nodes. If you run into an enemy, one of those nodes will light up, and she'll gain a stack of, it's called like wave momentum or something. It actually is called a wave momentum stack. Wow. In any case, it increases the damage of the bite. If you get 3 stacks, then your normal attack animation will be upgraded into this little kind of dive thing. And also, its base damage is further increased. For her skill, this is the base multiplier. Each stack of wave momentum adds 7.38% of her max HP to this number. If she has all 3, then she gets an additional 36.89%. And also a fun little point of reference, the Sharky's Surging Bite additional damage bonus, this number is equal to the Sharky's base damage plus 3 stacks of wave momentum. So if you're wondering for what the scaling on the 3 stack bite is, just multiply this number by 2, there you go. Anyways, the last stack giving this additional bonus that doubles the motion value of the hit makes it so that you always want that 3rd stack. You never want to be biting with 1 or 2 stacks. The bite's cooldown is long, and depending on your team, you might only have a limited number of vapes you can even get with Mualani. So you want to maximize each vape's damage. Previously, I mentioned that you can get 3 of these bites out while you're on fielding Mualani, but let's try something out. Let's try using bites with just 2 stacks. Ah, I only got 2 out there. I might have been able to get a 3rd out if my timing is really good. Let me try again. Okay, cool. I was able to get all 3. But still, the window is tight and the motion value is low. So if you have to spend more time on field getting an extra stack and doing the extended animation of the 3rd stack normal attack, how are you ever supposed to be able to get 3 charged bites? That is where her A1 passive comes in. If she hits a surging bite, so the bite with 3 stacks, she'll generate this little, oh, okay, or if she misses it, she'll generate this little fish. There we have Mualani gameplay issue number 1. Let's try this again. 3 stacks, she generates this little fish, it flies towards her, and then when she collects it, okay, whatever, I already have the footage, I'll just play it back. When she collects the puffer, it's not difficult, you don't have to go out of your way, it comes towards you automatically. She gets back 20 Night Soul points and can stay in her skill state for longer. So not only do you get way more damage from a level 3 bite, but you generate this floater, or puffer. I think in beta it was called floaters, so that's what's stuck in my head now. If you want to get this puffer and maintain the Night Soul state, then you have to do a 3-stack bite. As I just mentioned, Mualani can have a lot of gameplay issues, and this is very much one of them. Because if you do your normal attack early and you only get 2 stacks, then too bad, there goes your puffer, and you'll probably only get 2 bites over the duration of her skill. Additionally, depending on how you move, the puffer can take longer to get to you, and you can run out of Night Soul before it ever does. In any case, with my experience playing Mualani, this A1 passive has honestly been her biggest downside. This talent is what has caused the most issues for me. This talent alone makes her into such a reset heavy character, I can understand why people don't really like playing her. Anyways, those are kind of my general feelings on Mualani's kit after playing her for about a week. Oh yeah. And her burst is, it's one big hit. You probably want to vape this too if you can. And A4 passive just increases the damage of the burst based on Night Soul burst. They both just deal damage. It's so unbelievably easy. Actually, before I look at teams, this is my last funny point about Mualani. I have accidentally been Mualani pilling myself for the past probably like 2-3 months. Could be even longer depending on how you think about it, because it's possible that it all started with Emilie. Emilie isn't a fantastic unit with Mualani. Mualani is generally a unit that you want to dedicate your entire team into. She does enough damage that pumping her stats is generally the goal. Nonetheless, I like running Emilie with Mualani. Probably just because I like Emilie. The much more relevant units. Number 1, I'll actually talk about Candace. I have just recently built Candace, and I have also very recently been complaining about how I don't have C6 Candace. But, as it turns out, that works out really well for Mualani. So originally I built Candace for this weapon. I was gonna do some goofy gomming stuff involving this. Maybe I'll still do it, who knows? It's not a relevant thing anymore, but I'm feeling crazy. Candace gives Gomming a Hydro Infusion, lets him proc his reactions, gets the energy and extra EM. Whatever, you get the point. It wasn't just for Gomming, it was for the weapon in general. Candace enables it on a lot of other units. And her C6 makes her stronger in a lot of teams because it gives her some extra application. But when it comes to Mualani teams, Candace is actually kind of decent, and C6 is a detriment. As I kind of just went over, Mualani is a character designed around vape. She has very few Hydra applications, and her teams are built around getting pyro on enemies for her to react off of. So having extra application for those teams can be kind of bad, because it'll take your pyro too easily, and then Mualani will be missing vapes, which loses you a lot of damage. Anyways, Candace here, number 1, buffs normal attacks. Her burst buffs 20% by base, and then she has her A4 passive, which buffs them further based on her HP. In total, I average around 35% normal attack damage bonus, and she is a Hydro unit. Mualani's bites are considered normal attack damage, and Mualani is also a Hydro unit. To be more specific, an HP scaling one. Put Candace and Mualani in the same team. What if you got Hydro Resonance, 20% HP? Candace actually brings strong, valuable buffs to Mualani teams, and her C6 bringing extra application makes her synergy with Vape worse. You still can run a C6 Candace with Mualani. You're just gonna need to bring Xiangling because no other unit applies pyro fast enough. So what happens right after I build my non-C6 Candace that has been sitting in my account for almost 3 years now? I get the exact character that wants all of the stuff that she gives at 8 pity. Now I'm considering like never C6ing my Candace. I'll probably do it because Candace still isn't like the best option with Mualani. She's just a very, very good free-to-play alternative to Xilonen of all units. Like I've been running Sucrose, Candace, and Well, now I need to get into my second unit that I want to talk about. Although I'm mostly done with Candace, so I guess I'm fine with that. Xinyan! Xinyan has been much more of a thing on the stream, because I made that one Xinyan video, and it did fine, but I haven't had a ton of Xinyan in my edited content. I've been loving Xinyan. I've been playing so much Xinyan recently. I am, like, actively upset with how dirty people did Xinyan. I'm trying my best to make up for all those years of people calling her the worst unit in the game. To be frank, this kind of is just like a result of Mualani teams not having a great pyro slot. There's no vape seat lolly. The best we have is Malwika, who brings not actually scroll, because Shilonen is often your scroll holder in Mualani teams. You actually might be bringing a Malwika on Archaic Petra. God, I'm just thinking about that. In any case, the best option for the pyro slot in Mualani teams is Malwika. And it's not because her burst does a million bajillion damage and she just does more damage than anybody else would in that slot. It's that legitimately the best offensive utility that we have in the pyro slot in Mualani teams is this decaying 40% damage bonus that she gives. Nobody else in this slot can offer more than 40% damage bonus outside of the artifacts that they hold. So when it comes to which pyro you're going to be using for Mualani, you're kind of sifting through a bunch of bad options, and the one that I've stuck with is Xinyan. As I went over a lot in that video, same numerical application as Malwika. In practice, it can be a little bit more annoying because it's melee range, it pulses out from Xinyan. Malwika has a much larger AoE, but Mualani needs to be running into enemies constantly all the time to get her stacks, so I haven't found that to be much of a big issue. In any case, Xinyan brings the nice strong application that Mualani needs. She rotates fast enough to fit within Mualani's teams, and she provides a little bit of defensive utility with the shield. There's also one more little thing about Xinyan that I meant to talk about in that original video. Or I guess I just should have talked about it. I don't know if I meant to talk about it. Xinyan's burst hits a lot of times and is very good at overtaking existing auras. So before C6, Candace's only application is done upon swap. It's actually a really interesting mechanic. I wish they would do something like this that could actually be useful. I guess I could just do it now. When you swap, boom, explosion, boom, explosion, boom, explosion. I think you get 3 max, is that it? Yeah, you get 3 max. In any case, that makes it so that whenever you swap characters, you're gonna have a Hydra aura on your enemy. I mean, it can depend based on the exact enemy in the team, but at least that will happen in this team. I use burst, I'm applying Hydro, I swap, I apply again, I swirl, I swap, I apply again. But Xinyan's burst hits a lot. I believe it hits 8 times and applies Pyro 3 times. So even if an enemy has 1 unit of Hydra on them, Xinyan's burst can break through and leave a Pyro aura. The first application removes half the Hydro, the second removes the other half, the third applies. And then in this team, that setup actually makes me able to go scroll on Candace. Because watch this, during my setup, Xinyan does her skill and burst, she leaves the Pyro, and then when you swap out to Mualani, another wave happens, and Candace vapes off of that, and we are now able to see... Oh wait, we are not able to see. Is Candace... Oh. She's not on 4P scroll anymore. That would explain some things. So Candace burst, wave swap, do a swirl, wave swap, do Xinyan, skill and burst, wave swap that reacts with the Pyro, and now let's check Xinyan's stats because she has no damage bonus. There we go, 12% Pyro, 12% Hydro. Scroll Candace, woo! And then because neither Mualani or Candace have any application, Mualani until she hits, and Candace just not at all, because I already got my 3 waves upon swapping to Sucrose, Xinyan, and then Mualani. Xinyan will eventually leave a Pyro, and then Mualani is able to start vaping. So this is just kind of a fun little lower investment team. Uses 2 of the units that I've just kind of recently tuned into, and it gets Mualani a lot of freaking damage. This also makes up a pretty basic structure of most Mualani teams. Of course you have Mualani, of course you have Sucrose. Sucrose is far too good. She's in like all of Mualani's best teams. And in case you have your second damage buffer, which in this team it's Candace. A higher investment team would look like Shilonen. Of course, Sucrose is already holding VV, so you can't double Animo. But if you so wanted, you could keep Shilonen here and then maybe swap out Sucrose for, say, Lanyan. If you want to swap out either Sucrose or Shilonen, I would suggest Shilonen. She trades out some of her buffing potential for ease of use and healing. So Sucrose is always going to be the far better option to keep in terms of Mualani Mualani's damage. And then of course your last slot is just your pyro unit. As I mentioned, nobody's great here. Malwika is the best, and that's just because she's kind of comfy and she has a 40% damage bonus buff in her kit. Anybody can be here. I mean, you see I have Xinyan here. I've made Dea work. I've made Toma work. I haven't made Xiangling work yet because I refuse to play mono pyro Xiangling with Mualani, but Xiangling works. Anyone with a decent amount of off-field pyro will do the job. Xinyan is my favorite because I feel her application lines up the easiest, I have to think the least, and she has a shield, which Mualani does appreciate. Even though she has a lot of interruption resist, she just likes not having to take the damage. I'll run quickly into artifacts because, well, 3 of the units is pretty obvious. Mualani's obviously on Codex, the Sucrose is obviously on VV, Xilonen is obviously on Scroll, but what do we put Xinyan on? Petra is technically the best damaging option that you can get in this slot. When you pick up a Crystallize with the equipping character, it gets 35% damage bonus to the entire team. So the idea is you apply your Hydro, you Crystallize with Xilonen, you swirl with Sucrose, and then you pick up the Crystallize with your Pyro unit. Those are her highest damage setups. I do not care to do her highest damage setups. Yeah, I'm still running my Xinyan on Tenacity. Number 1, I already have a set all farmed up, so I don't have to think about building some Archaic Petra pieces. Number 2, Tenacity gives shield strength. And yes, since making that Xinyan video, I have been surprised by her shield in both directions. I've had Abyss Chambers where I get hit like 3 times from a pretty chunky enemy, and Xinyan shield just keeps on kicking, nothing to worry about. And then I have Abyss attempts where the shield gets one shot, so I don't know. Xinyan's shield health just honestly feels random to me at this point. In any case, it is the thing applying her pyro. If the shield breaks, no more pyro. So I like to keep her on Tenacity just to guarantee that it stays up. This is the Mualani video. Of course, I take a sidetrack about Xinyan. I guess I'll do a little setup with this team. I'll still do the rotation as if I was picking up the Crystallize with Xinyan. Boom, there we go, there's your demonstration. I'm gonna keep the actual demonstrations pretty short in this one, because I'm still new to Mualani and I don't really know what I'm doing. Anyways, this is the second archetype. I know that I already said if you want to swap out either Xilonen or Sucrose, you want to choose Xilonen because Sucrose contributes more damage. But counterpoint, you are never getting a Hydro Swirl in this team. I don't even have Xilonen on Scroll in this setup, she's on Instructors. Let me be clear, Burn Vape is worse than Hypercarry Mualani. By removing Sucrose and replacing her with Emilie, this team does do less damage. But I still really like it. Again, this is a situation of like, Mualani already does enough damage. It's not like she needs Sucrose in this slot. It's not like she needs Sucrose to clear, maybe in some of the higher difficulty content, but for anything that gives you Primos, this will do you just fine. Anyways, it deals less damage and it's way easier to set up. Guess I should pull Sucrose back out for my example. This hasn't really been an issue as I've gotten better at playing these teams, but Mualani, Sucrose, Xilonen setups have really tight timing, where you need to normal attack Mualani, go into Xilonen, get your Crystallize, and then go into Sucrose and get your Swirl. If you do it any slower, then the Hydro Aura fades and Sucrose doesn't get a Swirl. So when I was new to playing Mualani, I would even just like absent-mindedly do like 2 normals. Oh, and I still got my swirl there. Guess I'll just do boop, boop. Yeah, there we go. It was hard to tell if you were looking at his health bar. I didn't get an instance of swirl damage there. If that happens, you're gonna have to swap back to Mualani. And if you're using Widsith, that's an issue because, oh no, you've just procced your Widsith buff and you're not actually doing damage while it's up. It's annoying, it's weird, it's finicky. Now, Emilie, you're not doing setups that get you more damage. You're not able to do the setups that get you more damage, but also, you don't have to do the setups that get you more damage. With this team, I keep it simple. Emilie E, Xinyan stuff to get the burning aura, so I can get a Crystallized proc with Xilonen and make Instructors work, and then Boom. Oh, and I actually did kill him in rotation. So maybe it is better. It's not actually better, but this does segue into my next point. The setups are easier and Emilie makes the damage a lot more consistent. Mualani can have a lot of variance in her DPS. Not only were there the things I talked about before with the floaters, or the puffers, these not acting correctly can make you lose potential bites. Maybe you didn't get enough stacks and you accidentally only normal attacked with 2 stacks and one of your vapes wasn't so big, it only did like 150 damage. Maybe you got the wrong Widsith buff, or maybe Widsith is only active every other rotation and you're on a rotation where it's not active. There is a lot of variance to Mualani's gameplay and therefore her damage. That is not the case with Emilie. Her conditions are met, burning is happening, she's just dealing damage. I remember getting a comment when I mentioned Mualani in my Emilie 101, when I was like, oh yeah, Emilie helps stabilize the burning aura in Mualani team so you can always get your vapes. And I got a comment from someone who was like, you have to be a complete moron to mess up your application in Mualani teams. And originally I was thinking, oh, you know what, that's a little bit mean. I don't know about that. But since getting Mualani, yeah, you kind of do have to be a moron to mess up your auras and Mualani teams. Emilie is not doing that for the team. She's not making the team easier to play by getting you a consistent pyro aura, because that was going to happen anyways. She's making the team much more consistent by making it so that it's not so reliant on Mualani's damage. So that if you maybe mess up in your setup, or if you get the wrong Widsith buff, or if your puffers are acting weird, if any one of the many things that could go wrong with Mualani goes wrong, she can lose a lot of damage. Emilie can't. So yeah, there you go. There's your Emilie cope for the video. I'm using her because she makes Mualani a lot less skill intensive. Oh yeah, also putting Emilie in the team gives me another reason that I can say that I'm using tenacity for. It's there for an Emilie buff, guys. I swear, I know that tenacity buff doesn't work on Mualani. It's for Xinyan's shield and it's for Emilie damage. Is that it for the video? I think it might be. But yeah, whatever. I got Mualani. I like her a lot. She's strong. I have a lot of units that are good with her. That's the video. You know what time it is? You know what time it is then? It's member shoutout time. That's right. We have Mudkip172, Davia Vila, Zach ZDR, Starnova, Dew, Pyre's Flower, Dadiz, Penguin, Pegby, Rumpelatus, Najodo, and Dorsalfin. From twitch.tv/dorsalfin1. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting me. I should have a lot of stuff coming around for Nod Cry. I hope you learned something. You can leave a like if you did. Interaction helps the channel very, very much. And I hope you guys have a lovely day.